big event in the PGA Tour, and that was the PGA Championship at Oak Hill. And it was a very tough course. There was not many golfers that was under par this week, and a lot of guys struggled, especially in the early rounds. And the only thing that struggled was our picks and our parlay. We were like, oh, yeah, this is finally going to a little parlay here. It's a plus 1,500 odds, cash out of 900. It sounds so great. And you go to Thursday, you're like, all right, it's going to be starting up. Our picks are going to start out on fire. And nope, not any one of them even makes the cut. Sam Burns is plus 13. He misses the cut. Tyrell Hatton, he's on the line, and he makes the cut barely. And then he finishes on over par. Xander Schauffele finish over par on the round as well. So all of our picks finish over par, so it was definitely not the picks for me. And I feel like I'm just going to stop and say, don't even bet with us anymore. Fade us. If you want to make money, fade us. Because, but don't fade Chet's pick, because Chet's pick ended up winning. Brooks Koepka, he was really high on him. He had a good finish at the Masters. He was on top of the leaderboard going into Sunday, and then ultimately failed to do that. But this time he stays put on top of the leaderboard from Thursday on. He was a dominant factor. So we talked about it a couple of weeks ago on the show here that Live is going to compete with the PGA Tour. But I think that they're here to stay. I think not only can they compete, but they've shown now that they can win. What are your thoughts on the Live players going forward, especially Brooks Koepka?
Yeah, I mean, these guys aren't coming out of nowhere. They're guys that were proven in these tournaments for years. And I think the thing that stood out to me is the leagues have been able to operate pretty much independently. Like, I feel like the quality of golf that we're seeing on the PGA Tour is still really good with the guys that are on there. And then I think the Live events, I haven't watched them as much, but they seem to be competitive. And, you know, you do have some big names on there that consistently win, but you also do have some guys that are coming up on the Live Tour. It's not all super proven guys. So I think it's just two styles of play. I mean, I kind of look at it like professional soccer or something along those lines, where, you know, you have a few epicenters of the sport. It's not just one giant league. It's not like the NFL or the NBA. Like, there's some talent in the Premier League, and then, you know, Bundesliga and Italy and Spain. So I think that's kind of the model you're going to see for golf. And it makes sense, because golf is a very global game, has a big European influence. So maybe it'll allow those guys to play internationally more so than not, and then still have some big American tournaments too.
Yeah, I definitely think it's a great story for Brooks Koepka. I watch Full Swing, the documentary on it. If you haven't watched it, definitely go check it out already. I'm sure that a lot of people out there have already watched it. But Brooks Koepka's story, he was really dominant in the first couple of years on the PGA Tour, and then he faced with some adversity, a lot of injuries that he had in those past couple of years, and didn't really look the same. He either failed to make the cut or just never was in the running for the top 10. And then he goes to join the Live, and, you know, he doesn't really win a whole lot of events there. But this year he has really stepped it up. You know, in the Masters, he finished in the top 5. And then in the PGA Championship, he locks up his third PGA Championship career. But that's one story. But the big story of the weekend was Michael Block, the PGA professional. I mean, this guy's charging hourly rates for golf lessons at his local golf club. And now he's out here playing with Rory McIlroy on the final round of the PGA Championship. And not only does that, if you're watching, not only does it sink a hole in one, he splashes this one. He took some of the grass out. So just an amazing story. Michael Block. Once again, I feel like the story obviously is going to be on the champion. Everyone wants to focus on Brooks Koepka. But I feel like a lot of the narratives are going to be on Michael Block. And already he's going to be in this week's Charles Schwab Challenge. And I saw the Canadian Open is going to want him as well. The RBC Heritage as well has also sent him an invite. So I feel like he's going to be a real fan favorite. He was getting a lot of crowd hype. You know, even on that hole-in-one, the crowd was going nuts. So definitely a great story as well. And he made $288,000. I think that's going to be more in his hourly rates. And I saw a quote, his wife said, "Babe, you're going to have to start charging up some more prices. Yeah, we want some more of those prices coming in our household." So that's definitely a good story. So What are your thoughts on Michael Block? You know, we haven't even heard of this guy until this weekend. So what a great story this is.
Yeah, he had such a great weekend that I heard his name more than I heard Brooks Koepka's name. I had to look up who won, but I heard about Michael Block just by going on Facebook. So he really was the star of the weekend, and definitely put the name PGA Pro to test. I mean, those guys get that title more as a certification through the Professional Golf Association, but he really did play like a pro out there. Definitely made the course look a lot easier than some of the guys that we expected to do well. So hats off to him.
Yeah, I bet the odds on him were like
I don't
soaring
even
through
know
the
if he was
moon.
on the app.
I don't think he was. I mean, he did finish one over par. He had a consistent 4 rounds of golf. I mean, compared to the been on the PGA Block, really took charge in that. So once again, the top 5 finish was 1 and 2. Scotty Scheffler as well. He had a couple of birdies. He was making a run, but nonetheless, he finished in 3rd place. Number 2 was my pick, Victor Hovland. He had that interesting shot that really screwed up his chance. He was in the bunker and he chipped it, and it landed like it didn't even go like 2 inches, maybe. It went like straight into the thick stuff, and he had to take a penalty, take out his driver, and then hit it again. So once again, Victor Hovland gets close enough, but is yet to win that first major. So I just got a feel for him. You know, he's a really consistent player, but once again, he just can't finish the job done. And then the first place finisher was Brooks Koepka.